And we are back for game 2 of this best of 5 between Detonation FocusMe, reigning champions of the LJL from spring 2020, and Burning Core, the up and coming rivals this split in summer. However, they may be up and coming in some ways, but they were put down hard in that game.
They were.
Yeah.
It was close early, frankly, and actually the gold lead early wasn't all that big either way. It was pretty tight, but the problem was where the advantages were coming, and if you can sort of check on the mainstream as well, there you can sort of see the moment where the goal graph really starts spiking, and that is the Baron pickup. But the Drake stacking early, the fact that the poke that was supposed to be snowballing, particularly Ezreal, actually didn't manage to get all that much done, became really problematic, frankly, for Burning Core. And on the other side, that Volley Bear was hitting about Mach 5 for most of that game.
I mean, even with my headphones off, I could hear the sonic boom.
Okay, from Japan, mind you.
Well, it was a very loud boom. I guess it's worth talking about now because, you know, we did our post-game. We talked about game 1. We got to look through to get the next games in the series. What happens now? What do DFM have to do to solidify their performance and, you know, carry on and close this out? And what do Burning Core do to make sure this doesn't happen again?
I think you need to
I don't know particularly what... Yeah, I don't know exactly what DFM has to do beyond more of that. What I think Burning Core should be looking to do is draft a lot simpler compositions. Draft something that has clear win conditions even when behind, because a poke comp from behind is useless.
And also, I'm going to throw this out there. I really don't think Camille fits in with the comp. Genuinely don't. Like, Camille with Ezreal Zoe.
That was an Ornn if there was a Braum or something into the support position. If there was some sort of front line for the poke to hide behind, you have a lot better chance. Pick a simple composition. Pick something nice and good with good team fighting. That's where you excel. That's what you're good at. Just suffer the early game, look to scale,
and suffer no fools.
Hope DFM throws.
And I get looking to get proud on something that he can sort of kind of carry on, right? The Lux is certainly hitting that mark right now in the current meta. And I know that you want Ray Farky on something with agency, but the problem is if you do that and then get once on a carry as well, because you need that to happen, you just end up in a place where like you're trying to play a no tank composition versus the team that really loves having no tanks, and you can just run through them with slows and a volley bear coming at you. Like, you had to be a little bit more careful with what you were drafting, I think, for Burning Core.
Okay, and speaking of being careful about drafting and all things draft, it is draft for game 2, so I will depart once more. Enjoy the game, guys.
Thank you again, Nymera, an absolute stalwart here, doing a double shift for double best of 5s, but it is going to be left to me and Vinny to cast this second game. DFM will now move to the red side. It's looking like Heimerdinger and Set still holdover bans for Burning Core. DFM not changing anything up with the Galio and the Sona ban. Nico is the next ban out from Burning Core. New tech for this patch brought out by DFM. Want nothing to do with it.
And I wouldn't be surprised if Burning Core are looking for that first pick Caitlyn, as that is their only real changed ban. DFM, of course, has the opportunity to ban it here, which they do.
Yeah, they got the TL, but see how that goes.
Yeah, I would like to see the Ashe. I think with Caitlyn gone, it's the next best AD carry down the list. Of course, you can answer with Jhin, which I'm pretty sure Udapon has played in the past.
Oh, he definitely has, yeah. He hasn't played it so much in recent weeks, and I wouldn't be entirely surprised if they go towards something like the Ezreal Bar, but instead they go towards Camille for Ebby and Twisted Fate for Seros. It's not Galio, but it's another roam up from the mid lane to provide more setup and damage. And the last time DFM ran the Camille, Ebby went 7, 1, and 10 and ran over the game with steel.
Plus, you already have the very good makings of a 1-3-1 composition if you just set up with a good if you can just set up with good wave clear and disengage in that mid lane, you have strong split pushes that can collapse and create good amounts of pressure within a actual team fight situation, which is the best way to play that sort of 1-3-1 in this current season with the strength of dragons. Burning Core is going to take the Bard, which means they have a very strong bot lane again. Once again,
So, a little bit of context here. Ray Farkey is a notorious Darius player. He draws bans on it. He runs over games on it. He didn't have the best win rate on it in spring, but he pulled it out this split and looked significantly more dangerous on it. I'm not surprised to see him bring it out here in playoffs. It's first round, which is risky, but he knows what it's going into.
Yeah, and you see, and with the center lock-in, sure, you're going to have a fully global composition, a near fully global composition, which means you might have been baited in a little bit with this Darius pick, because once sort of level 6 comes around, they can throw so much into that top lane and just, bait in kills onto that Darius again and again. And however, with that said, if Darius gets that, cheesy level 1 kill or whatnot, which, he's not going to go for Ghost, unfortunately.
And well, I don't know. Wait for it. He did go Ghost the last time. I guess he might just feel he needs to run the teleport versus the Twisted Fate and the Camille. Even if the Ghost is a little bit better in terms of just the straight 1v1, maybe he just feels he needs the map pressure. I can understand that kind of reasoning. That said, you are playing a melee matchup into Darius. That's kind of Darius where Darius wants to be. Can be pretty brutal. Of course, Camille has good setup of her own. If someone else turns up, you can definitely play that out with decent speed ups and the like. Definitely still pretty dangerous. Going to
that makes much more sense.
The Tahm Kench. Save people from Ashe, from Bard, from Darius, to be completely frank.
Yeah, Leona into Darius is just, hello, I'm offering up a free kill to get you started on your ultimate rampage. There's Tahm Kench. Again, it provides that sort of global pressure, and you can go pretty much anywhere on the map really quickly, really fast rotations. You see Graves again for once, I guess it's kind of beefy. It provides more damage, but it's not what the composition needs. I would have liked just a general, not the Volibear, which is banned, something to just sort of set up and.
Wow.
Another global for DFM!
My old friend, time to sing the Song of Death again. Steel running out the Karthus in the jungle. Last pick here as well. And you're right, it is another global. We've got the Dawning Shadow from Sene. You've got now the Requiem as well from Karthus. And we all know how Twisted Fate works. And, Abyssal Voyage, why not? Add that on top. That is a lot of ways to play to side lanes for DFM. That's a lot of ways to blow people up if they end up ever too low. How are we thinking about these comps? I know you know a lot about Karthus casting a league with Levi in it.
Yes. And we have seen pretty much this comp almost exactly from Cerberus, I think it was. It just had a Shen instead of that Twisted Fate. And it just involved a lot of diving the top lane. Just because you don't really have to do all that much to get to it. Once level 6 comes in, you just press R and there's 5 people top. It's effectively with the center ult coming through. Okay. And you just kill that top laner again and again, put him in the dirt. I think that is probably the way they play about this. Get the Karthus to sort of snowball ahead and smash in that mid game where he is strongest. I'm interested to see how far Steel can farm this, because if you're looking at about that 3-minute 30 mark, probably a bit faster. It's what you're after.
I know LS has the timer down. He's pretty exact. It's 3:05 for a very good Karthus. Should be your full clear time.
That's what it is.
Yeah. Which is pretty damn fast. I know a lot of pros end up around that 3:20, 3:30 mark, which is fine. It's just not at the hyper speeds you can reach. That said, I'm looking at a very much 5v5 front to back comp from Burning Core. Good mixed damage. They've got good engage. They've got a Darius to run in the front line as well and try and pop off in those fights. DFM looking to play a little bit more spread out, catch people out with their globals a bit more. From what you've seen of these comps, how are you favoring? Well, who are you favoring in this particular match?
I'm really favoring. I'm favoring DFM. I think there is engage in the form of sort of pick potential on the side of Burning Core. You have the Ash Arrow and the Tempered Fate, which are great for setting up picks, but it's a bit. It's not quite that full-on hard engage you really want.
It's not a Call of the Forge God, for example.
No. Yeah. And I think again, you probably should have looked to get a little bit extra engage out of your jungle rather than just more damage. Because you have enough of that. You have a Nash, a Darius, and Cassiopeia. You do not need a Graves to sit on top of that. And especially because Graves isn't going to be able to do what he wants to do as a champion against Karthus, because he'll just get out farmed, he will possibly get out traded. It just means that you basically don't end up with a real jungler come the later stages of the game, and that really just favors DFM more and more as the game goes on, who have actually an easier comp to play, despite it being all globals.
Okay, that's a bold call. I will be interested to see whether that plays out, but Vinny here thinking that DFM's comp actually possibly easier to play, and in some guys, I kind of get it. It's kind of almost my first global comp, right? Like, you just TF to whatever lane you fancy, and everyone else just presses R. Like, that's not super hard to do.
You just lock someone in the Camille box and then drop 5 people on top of them. It's very easy. It's very simple to play. And then, you have the fast rotations if you need to, so you're not really going to be caught out of position in terms of Baron movements, or so sneaky Barons are going to be harder for Burning Core. Dragon rotations easily set up. You can kind of skip steps with it.
Yeah, I mean, for Burning Core, though, they do have fantastic objective take. I mean, they'll have a Blade of the Rune King AD carry, plus Cassiopeia, plus a Darius, frankly, with, Graves as well isn't exactly bad damage. So, there is a world where you can just shred objectives, and if you can draw it to a 5v5 and things are even, then, Burning Core definitely have ways that I can see them playing out this game. I think the issue is potentially that their turn and burn isn't as fantastic as you maybe would like, unless they hit the really good Ash Arrows, and then you're into a Tahm Kench, which might nullify a bit of what they want to do there.
Yeah. I do think if Burning Core are able to get that really good level 1s or early kills onto the Darius, who is actually going that Ghost.
There we go. It is very fun.
There we are. There is chance for that cheese to come through. If they are able to set up and get that early lead, potentially there is good news. They have the potential to sort of snowball out of control, and DFM might struggle to play against that from behind, but I think overall DFM should have this going on, as we just see this sort of 5-man fan.
Yeah, and I'll also say that Darius really dislikes Wall of Pain. Really dislikes it. He's trying to run in, and he's just slow forever. He's into a Glacial as well, which can be problematic. Then again, for all that we're saying, it could be a bit tricky, this is Ray Farkey's Darius. I cannot begin to tell you how many games this guy's got on that champion. It's kind of what he is. He is a Darius one-trick in a lot of ways. And he has made a mark on this champion here in the LJL. And again, he is into a melee matchup, which is always a good thing for Darius. And Darius' ability to win out the 1vx scenarios is a pretty notoriously well-known thing. So I'll be curious to see how that goes. First clears just started, and Steel starting on this red side.
One's going straight for the enemy blue buff. I don't think they've read this at all. So there is a very high potential that Steel is just going to get 3 buffed here, and that is massive, losing that blue as the Karthus.
It really would be. And again, DFM didn't get any deep vision, and once, with this very aggressive early pathing, might well have just kind of halted that Karthus early push, who does love blue buff as well. Remember, he is very mana hungry, even with his late waste to offer some mana regen on kills. And you can see DFM are roaming up here, pretty aware that something's likely to happen, and now that it's been spotted, Steel's going to know.
Yeah, and they know for sure once is gonna, and because they know they've been spotted, once is probably gonna hightail it to that blue buff and try and contest, or not. He might just no. He is going. He is making that way, making his way there.
Gonna get there quick enough though. Carthus does take buffs really damn fast, and we're gonna see there'll be a smite available. Once is gonna be coming over, and Steel does now secure smite, does have it, but now once stepping forward, smoke screen slow, Yu-Gi-Oh roaming up, but Camille roaming down. It will be the Gromp plus blue for once. It's just the blue Steel for Steel. Does make for an elegant phrasing when you've got a jungler called Steel, but there we go. And actually now with the Scuttle Crab spawn and DFM having shove, looking like Steel might also get a hold of this topside Scuttle Crab, which is good news for Camille in the topside.
Once is just kind of wasting time here. As soon as Saros moved up, he probably should have just gone for that other crab. His bot lane is going to secure it for him, and this is giving a lot of time for Steel to just get back into this. He's going to be 2 camps ahead.
Okay, found this Carthus. Actually has a lot of damage. Might try and get the kill here. Are we going to see a flash in? Going to try and stay out of the lay waste, but the Wall of Pain comes down. Level 4 hit. That means that was an option, and Rayfarki won't come across the wall. Carthus chunked out, but actually nothing else found, and that means it is 24-12 in CS right now.
Yeah, and he's a full camp ahead, and he can just back and go straight up to the second spawn of his Krugs and get straight back into it. Just Krugs into probably, I don't think Raptor spawn. He's actually making his way. Looks like he's making his way to those wolves.
Changes his mind a little bit. Was thinking about going towards the Gromp and does instead look towards the Krugs. The on the way ping came out, and your initial statement will be proved correct, Vinny. Bot side, though, we're seeing an early shove in from DFM, but Once is doing his counter-jungling thing, stealing away Carthus Raptors.
Yeah, so Once still being very aggressive and finding his way in and trying to make up that difference and contest, but he's still quite far behind in terms of experience. And even in camps, still a good couple of camps behind, and they're looking for this 2v2.
They are looking for the 2v. Teleports coming in, Wall of Pain coming down, but now Ebby needs to find out. Flashes away, and now Yu-Gi-Oh going in, finds the miasma, and that's a lot of low health bars. Now Yu-Gi-Oh is in trouble. It is a 2-for-1 now, but now Rayfarki is just dead to rights. It'll be a 2-for-2 overall. But wait, Seros flashes in for an auto. The heal! Wait, there is going to be a pick a card, and red card will secure it. It was closer than Seros would like, but it will be a 2-for-2 overall. First blood did go the way of the Cassiopeia, though, who picked up both of the kills in that top side.
Yeah, the very good reaction from Saros to sort of respond to that, or from both mid lanes to respond to the play. And in the end, I mean, I feel they underestimate the turnaround damage that Carthus has. Yu-Gi-Oh going all in and trying to get back and get that first kill, but then Steel does die, and actually, the stun means you get that extra lay waste. Saros missing the wild cards means he has to commit the flash.
It's a bit sad.
Which, yeah, it's a bit sad, but overall, ends up being a 2-for-2. But yeah, decent advantage to Yu-Gi-Oh in that mid lane, the jungle ends up sort of about even. The trade turns out even overall.
Level 6 to level 4 right now as well, though, doing those junglers. And, Once has been counter-jungling, but
there's that.
He's been getting, one camp and then being lazy on his own clear because he has been in the enemy jungler. And now that he is so far down, he's going to have to be so damn careful. He's going to lose his red buff here as well. And now Steel can start returning the favor that Once was trying to do in the early game. This Carthus is ready to roll.
Yeah, this Carthus is massive compared to the Graves, who is so far behind in experience.
Down a level to his support.
Oh, yeah, this is disastrous. Graves is not a champion anymore. He is the lowest experience in the game right now. Just Ding's level 5. This is a free dragon.
It should be a free dragon. I agree. That's not to say it will be. This is Burning Core, but the recall comes in from Graves, and that means first dragon and a kind of failed early game plan to put this Karthus behind for Burning Core.
And it started really well, but you can easily pinpoint where it went wrong, where Graves sort of just sat around and watched the Karthus take that Scuttle Crab instead of running back down to take the one on the other side, giving it over to his bot lane, who, aren't even ahead in CS, despite the 3-4 CS gifted to them by their jungler.
See a bit of a problem in this top side, though. There is a freeze that Rayfaki has set up, and Ebby, having had to burn his flash earlier on in that game, in that dive up top side, is now in a bit of an awkward position. Should be able to pick up some of this CS discrepancy if he can find his way to the wave, but kind of does have to be very wary of this Darius right now.
Yeah, it's being pushed out, and he has managed to keep up in experience, so it's not too bad, but the goal difference is going to be massive. DFM definitely should not be contesting this with Udapon on the other side, who is freezing the wave, it looks like, for no reason.
Deciding to do that, kind of just holding it away, deciding that maybe that will force Yuhi into a difficult position if they do decide to come back down bot. Karthus is around top side as well, but so is Once, who has now managed to catch up at least a little bit in levels, up to that level 6 mark as well now, but still a room where this becomes a 2v2 top, looking for a Herald play around this top tower.
And I mean, actually thinking about it, it's probably not a bad call to keep the wave pulled, because you're a center, you're not going to be able to take down that turret really as fast as in exchange for the Herald. Not able to catch up in terms of play to make it a 2-for-2 overall. So you might actually be better off with this, but we see Steel no, he's just looking for a back. Might move up if Rayfaki gets too aggressive.
He's looking to try and get in. Look, you can see Seros and Roaming. They want this Darius, who has got no flash. Hookshot misses, but the Hextech cage is now in. Gold card is there. Stun coming out. Steel in there as well. Who needs a Requiem when you've just got burn damage? Ghost has been popped. Heal coming out. Rayfaki trying to outplay, but just doesn't have the damage as yet. Falls down for the second death of the game, but Burning Core with Herald and Inventory and a Graves will look to try and pressure in this mid lane. It's just Gang here as a Tom Kent trying to stop this, and actually this will be a fair amount of gold traded back for Burning Core.
This might just be the whole turret.
Might be. It's going to be close, but
just not.
Yeah, not quite. They will get 4 plates though, which is good news for Burning Core.
I know, with the wave coming up.
Well, maybe they're going to keep trying to push in, and
no, they've given up.
Ghost bought Rayfaki enough time that they do manage to punish the aggressive global option there. That's kind of something you can do versus Twisted Fate. Attack his turret when he's not in lane.
Yeah, so overall, it's actually gold in favor to Burning Core, but you sort of got the sneak peek of what's just going to happen again and again and again. Just keep going to the side lanes with the Karthus and the Twisted Fate, get another kill, goes very well into their position. The AI bot seems to be favoring DFM at the moment.
You can see it's kind of dipped back up a touch, probably as a result of the gold going over there. And you can see the gold per player. It's very much in the mid laners right now, and to an extent in this jungle for Steel as well.
This jungle is pretty much the entire gold lead that DFM has at the moment. Almost 500, almost 1,000. It feels like, but. No, Once has done a decent job at trying to catch up. He's now not quite as far behind. And I mean, having those 2 early assists, including the first blood.
Oh, no, here we go. Pain coming out, but Rayfaki, level 9 now here. It's going to try and step forward. Outplay the 2v2. Teleport now coming in. Tactical sweep comes down. Lay wastes are here as well. And we'll force the teleport out of Yu-Gi-Oh, who was afraid of that continuing further. And now Seros gets his own time to get some alone time with this turret.
Yeah, I mean, it was they didn't set up and delete the minion wave and put enough pressure onto that, which meant that Rayfaki had a lot of sort of extra help to sort of run around that and use the creep block to his advantage, which meant that overall, he was probably fine unless they were willing to extend that play for a really long time. And also, it gives Burning Core advantage around the priority. That's the word I'm looking for. Thank you.
Wall of Pain
priority around this.
Might look to come and contest. And here is the teleport. They are going to try and come in. They're coming in very fast. Now, Yuhi's in a lot of bother. Does find his way out through the magical journey, but that got a little closer than they would have liked. Drake has now been leashed, and Steel with the smite advantage. Well, no, it doesn't actually quite have the smite advantage. It's going to be damn close, and Karthus secures it. Is now very low, and Ebby caught around the back end, but here comes the Requiem, and once falls down, Senna secures the kill. Ave Maria, says Karthus, and will find his way very swiftly to heaven, Will Graves.
Yeah, the inability of Darius to follow, he's gonna do his best on this and wailing on this tower. Going for the Triforce, it seems. So, which is, yeah, that seems reasonable. There's no really any tanks or anything that you want to get that Black Cleaver into. So, yeah, that tower's going to take a lot, and you're sort of seeing the gold trades turning out to be relatively even and overall. But yeah, you pick up the dragon, that's going to be much more useful. It is turned into an ocean rift, I believe.
Looks like we're seeing some very beautiful flowers all around, which does make sense. Yuhi is in a spot of bother now, but the Last Embrace does miss, and now maybe Burning Core can think about turning this around. They don't have teleport available, though, so I think that's probably a bit much to ask for right now. Nearly ended up in a spot of bother there with Yuhi walking so far forward in lane. You can see a lot of plates taken for Burning Core, particularly around that mid lane.
Yeah, Burning Core having that rift held, it just means they're able to get that extra gold out of a lot of the plays that they shouldn't be. Though now the plates are gone, maybe turrets will start falling as we see DFM go top again. Saros backing away.
Could definitely be backing away, but tactical sweep lands. We're going to see the Wall of Pain out now as well, but here is once. Could still be trouble. A lot of healing coming out of Rayfaki, but the Abyss of Voice now coming in still. Flashes away from the collateral damage, but there is the Senna Railgun in response as well. Flash on the junglers. Nothing more to be found. Ghost burn by Rayfaki.
Senna's teleport burn.
Oh, Senna's teleport was burned, but that's because Herald's up as well, and DFM want to contest for this one. They have got position, but Steel's kind of low, and the Scuttle Crab was taken by Burning Core. Once does not have collateral damage or flash, though, so could be at a bit of risk stepping forwards here.
And Steel has the level advantage for the smite. Requiem is not up, though, so there is that.
Okay.
If the fight does break out.
Yuhi and Saros are in mid lane. This is still looking like it could be a bit of a fight. Eye is the way of Burning Core right now. Ash Arrow lands. It's on to Camille. Tempered Fate catches 3.
That's huge.
Now Burning Core are going to find a 3-man apprehend. So much damage, but that's a decent Wall of Pain. And Saros in the backline buying a lot of time. Cassiopeia kills off the Tahm Kench, though. DFM will have to retreat, losing a member.
Massive Bardock coming out of Proud, and Saros just completely on the wrong side of the fight.
Coming out. They're going to try and turn this around. Proud take them very low. Ebby also in danger. They step forward and lose another. DFM overstepping around second heralds. Where have I seen this before?
Ebby going in without any real backup. Sure, the Requiem's coming down, but no one's low enough. Steel isn't on super high Dark Harvest stacks. It's just... You can't do that. I mean, if it's a Galio, yeah, you can go in there. You have that backup, but you have a Twisted Fate. That's not how you play this comp. You don't go for you don't go for the big team fights. You go for the silent picks. And yeah, here we just see a massive Twisted Fate, Tempered Fate coming out, and then perfect apprehend from Rayfaki. Times it beautifully, gets so much out. Evie was actually out of the apprehend, but gets brought into it because he got eaten by the Tahm Kench.
Tahm Kench, that's a bit sad.
Goes down there, and he just commits so early. They can't kill Proud. There's too much CC from Yuhi. They just tried to get something back. They felt we lost the play. We don't want to lose the play, but you got to let it go, guys. You can't win them all.
Can't win them all is one way of putting it, and that will bring the gold lead actually in favor of Burning Core now. And it's Darius, Trinity Force, actually up in CS as well, has been really since that kind of 2-for-2 at the top lane. DFM, though, now looking to press in around the top side as Burning Core return the favor around the bots. They've got second Herald, and that means they can shove in significantly harder than DFM can right now. There it is, summoned around here.
Yep. And yeah, Saros is going to get this back, but he's only on his roller right now. And this is just going to be another turret.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they can even break the inhibitor. It's only Evie here to defend. Steel maybe looking for Yu-Gi-Oh, but this is the wrong call. I feel you're going to lose way more than you're ever going to get.
They feel like they can't contest for this Ocean Drake right now because of where pressure is, so I can sort of see why Steel's at least around that part of the map. They don't get anything. It won't be the inhibitor broken, but it is still that gold lead kind of now in favor of Burning Core, who've hit that point where maybe those team fights can become even scarier for them. 3-1-1 is this Cassiopeia. It's Shirelia's Reverie in for Bard for a little bit more of that speed up. Later Rune King in for Ashe. On the other side, though, there is a Lich Bane and a nearly fully stacked Rod of Ages and 2 items on this Senna. There is a world where that does more than enough work if they can find the right picks, and that's still an option. And hell, this Karthus is very strong if you can find the right ults, but thus far, after the early game, not really seen that.
Yeah, and currently it feels like DFM cannot teamfight. I mean, they definitely cannot teamfight, but that's what they seem to be looking towards. They haven't built up enough of a lead onto the Camille with the picks. They've tried a couple of times with just Steel coming, but your comp can bring more people, so you should bring more people. And because they've just tried again and again, and it hasn't worked out for them. But honestly, huge props to Burning Core, especially in that last team fight. Proud coming up massive. Ray Farkey coming up huge on his signature Darius. And DFM now, they're gonna have to try and they're gonna have to use their brains here. They can't just muscle their way through like they did in game 1. They don't have a giant bear to work with.
They
have to be very sneaky and use those side lanes to the maximum.
Definitely have a way in which they can do that if they can find the right options. And remember, Ray Farkey off in a side lane doesn't have teleports. There is a world where you can find that numbers advantage fairly easily if someone's kind of out of position. Once, though, after kind of being put a long way behind in the early game, is largely speaking caught up now. He's down the 1 level, but you can kind of take that after how shaky things were looking early on.
Yeah, and the CS difference hasn't really changed all that much. It's still only about 20, but...
All right, but the Apprehend is now going to come down. Gang has to flash out. That's an arrow as well, but a lot burned for only a flash on Tom Kench.
Yeah, they committed a lot to mid lane. They didn't get much. This means Evie is able to get a bit of free time in the side lane to catch up to Ray Farkey. They're not too different in terms of gold. I mean, Ray Farkey have a bit extra from turret plates, and now the first turret falling. Oh, actually, there are 3 turrets down. Whoa, I am going mad. They got that massive bot lane push.
Yeah, they did. I was thinking, hang on. So yeah, fairly significant right now, and Ebby with the wave so far pushed back, couldn't find all that much, and actually he's going to find Darius. Does get the stun now down onto that pick. They're going to find the Hextech Ultimatum, and they Requiem as well. Secures a kill onto Darius. Third death of the game for Ray Farkey. No way out of that one. DFM pulling the trigger, and this time it plays out.
That's how you do it. You commit multiple ults. You don't just sort of wander up there and sort of wave your Karthus at them. Yu-Gi-Oh gonna have enough time probably to take this tower down. Actually, maybe not with Saros getting up there.
A bit harder. There's a gold card actually, it's just to buy time, and actually turret shots now on a Yu-Gi-Oh. It's a bit sad. Proud coming around, and now this is a lot of danger for Saros, who's in all sorts of bother. Once here as well, and Karthus just not quite there in time. A little bit too aggressive in the defense of the tower there. DFM will trade back in the mid lane, though. But in the end, it's pick for pick and tower for tower.
And Saros almost outplayed Yu-Gi-Oh there. If the ultimate hadn't landed, that was absolutely a kill for Saros. But, alas, Didn't happen.
All right,
So-
now Steel in a spot of bother will get bound not quite in place, and Gang is going to be around. Heal now, Ben. They're going to try and find the turnaround instead. Tongue Lash coming out, but it is a 3 versus 4 in this jungle right now. Senna back in base, does have teleport, but Burning Core decide they want to pull the trigger on this Baron. DFM don't know about it right now. All right,
And this
teleport's
is going
coming
down
in.
really fast. It's that Baron trade you were talking about in the champ select.
All right.
There is-
Don't get
it's
the
almost
Lance of
at the-
Tempered Fate.
okay.
Once needs to go in, doesn't get it. That will be Burning Core securing the Baron. Now
Once-
they need to escape. Once needs to get out. He's over the back of the Baron pit, away from Carthus. Utapon
There's no
trying
Requiem.
to chase down the center, but now Burning Core going back in. They found the fight. This is all going wrong for DFM. They don't even get once. It's 2 dead. It's a double, actually. I apologize for Rayfaki to make it 3, and now Seros and Utapon on the run. What a great Baron call by Burning Core.
Where's the Requiem? Did Steel accidentally press it just before he died? Because
I think it's still on cooldown, so I'm assuming because we used it earlier to get on a pick on a Darius, it would still have been on cooldown. I'm assuming.
quite possibly, it is.
We'll have to look
If
back
it
in
was
the
on
replay.
cooldown, that was perfect call from them. Now they're going to get that second Ocean Drake. The Dragon Snowball is
Yeah, it's on
completely
cooldown.
gone. Yeah, it's on cooldown. DFM is in such a bad position. They completely caught unawares. They have to know this is a possibility. Steel tries to live up to his name, can't do it though. And yeah, that shred is just
close.
massive. And then from there, good pick on the gang, and they just get out until what happens? Evie tries to go back in, and
Flash,
massive.
Apprehend into
That'll
your
do it.
petrifying gaze. That's some tasty.
That'll do it. Yeah, Evie and gang stepping too far forward on the trying to get something back, and again DFM reaching. They don't want to lose anything, so they end up losing more.
It's all kind of going wrong here. This Darius they try to put behind isn't all that behind. This Cassiopeia is very ahead. That is dangerous stuff. Of course, DFM can still look to try and find picks, but you can see that is a massive swing in win percentage chance right now for Burning Core. From 58% to DFM to 84% chance for Burning Core. They are in a commanding lead in this game, Vinny.
And Graves is now completely caught up again. I mean, the Carthus lead which was so much of DFM's early game, is gone. There is nothing really for them now. They're gonna. Saros is gonna get away, but
Little damage comes out as well. Doesn't find what they were looking for.
And from here, it's really rough for them. No one should be able to contest Rayfaki if he ever decides to go to a side lane. He's not going to. They're gonna just group up as 5 because DFM definitely can't team fight and just siege onto this last inner turret and then hit that inhibitor turret.
Alright, Ebby's going to start split pushing, try and buy something back because they know they can't necessarily win the 5v5 right now and at least try and trade. Ebby at an item and a half will not even continue onto the tower, a little bit afraid of what's going on. You can see that gold lead shift right there. That is a hell of a mountain that popped out of nowhere.
Yeah, it was neck and neck almost the entire time, and then just no. It's all Burning Core from here on out. It's gonna take a massive set of players from DFM to a perfect team fight, or probably multiple, to get back into it. It looks like we might not be seeing that 3-0.
Yeah, about to say it's looking like Burning Core may well be striking back, especially after that first game looked really rough from them. They found the fantastic fight around Herald and have not really looked back since. Great Baron play as well. It is now over, but they've got rid of all the outer towers. They've got the last 2 Ocean Drakes as well. That stopped that stacking for DFM. They've got this Cassiopeia who's got a Medjai's in inventory now as well, by the by. There's a stone plate on this Darius as well. Like, DFM are going to get dragged into 5v5s, and we said if that's what they got dragged into, they could be in a seriously difficult position.
And yeah, you can see they're trying their best to get Evie to find what they can. They've set up a good amount of wards in their topside jungle. So he is relatively safe in that side lane at the moment, but yeah, there's no real. They can't really get out of their base while the Baron was up, which it is no longer. So they have a little bit of space to breathe before the next Dragon, both of which are coming up at the same time. So Dragon is going to be left to the victor of Baron. It feels like, unless someone tries to pull a fast one and sneak that from under the other team's nose.
All right, Ebby will be spotted in the enemy blue jungle. And you see the retreat ping aimed at Yu-Gi-Oh! Saying, yo, please get out of here. You don't want to fight that Camille right now. Ebby will continue to play off in this side lane.
Doesn't she? I feel
I don't
like
know
the
if she does.
Cassio might win.
I agree. You see the retreat ping out, but like, I suppose the thing is, there's still the Requiem available, so it's not really just Camille, and there is also the Destiny Gate as well. So there's also the Center. It's never really a 1v1.
Yeah. So that is probably fair enough, but yeah, they are actually going to.
Here's the gate.
And there it is.
The hook shot. Petrifying Gaze comes out, but the gold card now coming out as well as the railgun shut down onto this Cassiopeia goes the way of the Camille. Can Burning Core find a response? Because DFM with a Lichbane and a Camille are going to shred this tower.
Slightly bad communication on DFM using the Requiem for nothing, but.
I just wanted to make sure that Camille died.
But yeah,
did have Seraphs.
Cassio did die.
And there was a Seraphs. If she got that off, maybe would have survived. Could have turned it around to ban the Petrifying Gaze as well. So I can see why that was an option. And, DFM do get a pick, but they burn a lot of long cooldown ultimates.
And with that, once it's going to get Burning Core to Soul Point. And now DFM are really worried. Really on a timer now. In 5 minutes, Burning Core could just basically win the game from this.
They definitely could. They've got themselves a 2,500 gold lead. Let's not exaggerate too much there, but there is 3 items on Senna. There is a Camille, which is continuing to find options in a side lane, and if DFM can stall and continue to force Burning Core into kind of responding in the side lanes and getting caught out, maybe things get tricky. But as you said, once that Baron is live, and if Burning Core can instead drag DFM into the 5 versus 5, things get more difficult for DFM.
Things get scary for DFM. Yes.
They do.
I mean, yes, they're already scary. Heavy is...
All right. This Cassiopeia is trying not to go anywhere beyond this tower. Wants to be as safe as she possibly can be. But wait, she has got the Farsight alteration. That forces the kind of the gate actually out of Seros, who wants to get back into mid lane very swiftly so they can make sure they don't have a Baron rush against them one more time. The last one got close. Let's be fair. Steel flashed in, and it was at 400 HP. It was a smite fight, and here comes Burning Core. They're starting it up again, and DFM, they're just not there. They don't want to contest.
Yeah, and I mean they can't. They don't have the easy access to vision, and Seros is all the way at the bot lane again. So they're going to get they got a tower in response, but it's rough. And I mean, there is potential now that Evie could fight Ray Farkey in that side lane, but it's not going to happen. Ray Farkey's just grouping with his team. They're leaving Yu-Gi-Oh! With the teleport to do the split push duty.
Yeah, and you can see what DFM are saying. Like, we don't win the 5v5s. We don't want to take them. We need to get picks. That was a very clutch Farsight alteration by Cassiopeia to spot out the bush, or she could have been picked off and things may have been different. But DFM are kind of resorting to playing smoke and mirrors, trying to tear the map apart, and Burning Core this far into the game, have got themselves a second Baron. There will be an Ocean Drake, which will be an Ocean Rift in not all that, well, it'll be a couple minutes, yes, of course. At the minute, there is no Dragon Timer on screen, so hasn't been the whole series actually as well, which is frustrating to keep track of.
It will be popping up shortly, just around the time the Baron time's out. So Burning Core should be in a very good position to take this, unless DFM can find something massive. And I don't know if they can.
Could be definitely tricky.
This might be the last nail.
Yeah, he's going to try and find as much pressure in the side lane as he damn well can. He wants to buy time. There is The 4-man unit of DFM here trying to hold on. Ray Farkey takes a few lay wastes and they still sting. That Karthus isn't weak by any means, but DFM still trying to hold on. Burning Coal don't want to let them do it. And Ebby's actually onto this inhibitor tower. I think he's going to get it. He does get a hold of it, and Yu-Gi-Oh has backed up. But that's actually a bit of a coup for DFM, who call out the relatively slow push, actually, of Burning Coal. They've only got Ash's range. And if she steps too far forwards and ends up with a wall of pain on her, it could be a lot of bother from Karthus. So maybe DFM actually weathering the storm better than I kind of anticipated there.
And so we do say split push is kind of bad in Season 10 because of all the focus around objectives that's needed. When there's no objective, split push kind of is allowed to have a new lease on life. But I do think you need to be a lot more aggressive with it than you would traditionally otherwise be. So here, Evie should be trying to bully Yu-Gi-Oh as much as he can. Right,
wait, they're going to find a fix onto Yu-Gi-Oh. There's the Requiem. Ash Arrow coming out. Railgun is going to come across. So is the Ash Arrow. But nothing more to be found. That's a couple key ultimates burn for both teams, though. There is no Requiem. There is no Destiny. There is no Ash Arrow or Petrifying Gaze either. Actually might give this Camille a bit more room to be aggressive in a sideline. Knowing the Cassiopeia can't really hold her in place outside of a miasma.
But the Ocean Soul is up in 30 seconds. This is going to be very important for DFM, and with Requiem going to be down for another long while.
Will have all the tools they need. I'm kind of with you there, Vinny. All right, Ebby, though, stepping forward, wants to take this inhibitor, is going to just step forward. There's a teleport. They're just looking to turn this around here. They're saying, screw the Ocean Star, we can't win it anyway. Petrifying Gaze misses. Now, Ebby solo with the stopwatch. It's stopwatch for stopwatch. Ebby needs to get away. That is a last embrace that misses. Yu-Gi-Oh falls, though. And the inhibitor now down. Burning Core stepping up. Ray Farkey is here with the apprehend. Going to get it around onto the Tom Kents. They're trying to get a Tempered Fate. They get two. Proud as land, so many. And Ray Farkey, welcome to the Noxian Revolution. Let me introduce you to my guillotine. He finds a double. Steel, though, died somewhere in the backline, but I don't know quite what happens. I'm assuming once got that kill. So actually, it's a full ace. Now, Burning Core are going to shove in and try and end. They've got 30-second death time. I think they've done it, Vinny.
Yeah, everything, great last hurrah from DFM, but they end up losing both the 3v4 in the enemy base and the 1v1 around the Dragon Pit. Once coming up massive in that fight and just deleting Steel, which just means, it's a full ace. Only Yu-Gi-Oh is actually dies, and it's just going to be a quick win.
Burning Core take the victory over DFM. Ray Farkey's Darius in the first phase of picks survives the early attempts on them. They survive an attempt at the second hell, which they turn around. They rush Baron, and Burning Core turn this series around. It's now 1-1. But to find out a little bit more, we're going to go on a swift break while we collate our thoughts, and we'll tell you a little more about it in just a moment or two.
So, Burning Core strike back in pretty interesting fashion. I looked at these drafts and I thought, Rayfark Darius. That's novel. They're playing against quadruple globals. That seems like it's quite difficult. Turns out, didn't particularly matter. Burning Core end up problem-solving their way to a win in a very back-and-forth game.
They did, and it wasn't looking all that good early. Once basically went for a very aggressive invade onto Carthus blue buff, which worked out just fine. And then kind of ended up 20 CS down because he just sat around watching Carthus take the top scuttle grabbers. And it meant that Steel on this Carthus was level 6 to Wanter's level 4 at one point. And it was looking pretty dire actually early on with this Carthus getting up to a very significant early lead.
And, no, go on.
Oh, yeah, Once was far and away the lowest experience in the game. He was a level behind his support at one point. It was pretty rough out of the graves early on, but which really meant easy control over the first two Drakes and the first Herald for DFM, and I mean they looked really good early. But
And it's interesting you say a level behind his support. That's someone which I really want to touch on, because Proud on the Bard, he had some Tempered Fates and a couple of Bindings, which really turned that game, didn't he?
He did. Kind of a couple key moments. I think there was a 2-for-2 top, which was a bit of a mess, but he got a couple kills onto the Cassiopeia that got Yu-Gi-Oh ahead of the curve. We saw the Darius as well end up on a point where Camille blew her flash, and that means she had to be really wary of where she was against Darius, especially when Darius got a freeze because of the way the wave bounced back after that. But the bit that was super key was the second Herald. Where have I said that before for DFM? Where Proud landed the mother of all Tempered Face, didn't he, Vinny?
Yeah, he got a good, massive 3-man Tempered Fate, which was immediately followed up by the Abscond from the Darius, and from there it was just easy
Apprehend,
cleanup.
you're thinking of Silas.
Apprehend! Big, beefy men pull people.
Fight against Demacia.
Yes. Massive Apprehend. Easy cleanup on the fight. Get 3. I think it was just the 3, but 3 kills and the Herald, which meant that when DFM went for their first global play into that top lane, their next global play into the top lane, it was easily answered by just dropping Rift Herald mid and taking advantage of the fact Twisted Fate's not there.
Yeah, and speaking of kind of working against those globals, this isn't the first time we've seen DFM kind of flub the execution a bit. So I do remember them losing to V3 when V3 was still on their win streak, when they had, Senna, well, it wasn't Senna, they had Tom Kench, and they had Nash, and they had a TF. Sam, is this a recurring problem with DFM, or is this just Burning Core really knowing how to deal with DFM on the globals?
I think it's probably a little bit of both. I think Burning Core pulled the trigger at 2 key moments that kind of meant that DFM couldn't snowball as clearly as they want, and there was once or twice when DFM pressed all the R buttons, and maybe 1 or 2 of those R buttons didn't need to be pressed because they got the kill with regardless. And the one that really punished them was they used a lot of ultimates to get a kill onto Darius down in the bottom jungle, but it basically meant that afterwards there was some recalls, and with all those major ultimates down, Burning Core just turn and burn Baron. It got close. It got down to a 400 HP smite fight, but they get the Baron, and they got 3 kills out of it as well. And at that point, you're a 5v5 squad versus a global comp and a split push comp at that is now being forced to 5v5, and Burning Core got to run away with the game really from that moment.
And speaking of running away with the game, they did end up sealing that one out. I'm just a bit conscious of time once again because the main stream has gone on to their break. And of course, we do want to leave some time for us to talk through the next game from there. DFM will have a lot to think about, and I'm sure you guys will too. Just going to have to cut it off there. And please, please come back and join us after this break because this is going to be a very interesting series.